viewers. Patience, you can always skip ahead. So, next topic, in continuing the previous one, but it's okay if you didn't see that, is, and I hate to get up again. I just sat down, and the dog, I can tell, is a bit. Oh yeah, this is a cold water. Okay, at least it feels like it is cold now. Okay, looks like yeah. So I'll wait. No, she knows not. The bottle's colder than the water is, and I'm thankful for water. But I want it kind of maybe not quite as cold as right out of the fridge. Although this might be the one I had upstairs. Thank you for being good, Sonny. I don't read books very often, and I often can't focus on them. I think that's where the conversation helps, because it's engaging in a way where I can put my feelings and thoughts into it as well, and hear others in an interactive way. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. Yeah, it's definitely a look. She was very much about degree, but not forcing it. I think maybe she thought that I would never. Well, I mean, I was in first year. I didn't at the time, and he passed away. I couldn't get it from him, but that's fine. That's fine. Looking for ideas for the conversation within this. Yeah, whether I'd say to the younger generation, rush to get a degree and all that stuff, I'm not sure. I think that there's some benefit to that, and life can be short. You might as well do as much with your life as you can. Although the concept is easy enough, actually doing so sometimes, right? Hello, Thomas. Welcome. Glad to have you here. First time to the channel. How'd you come across? Where are you watching from? I don't think I remember you. But yeah, glad to have you here. One thing I wanted to talk about, and it's still not actually indicating that there's a viewer. Oh, there we go. One thing that I wanted to talk about is confidence. I think that it's good to have it, but I don't think any of us should be overly confident because I throw curveballs, essentially. And it's a difference between, good confidence, good self-esteem, and being cocky, right? I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying as a topic that came to mind. And I can't remember, it was just maybe 15, 20 minutes ago, and I've only been rolling for 5, but I can't remember what made me think of it, but I'm just in a thoughtful way, and it was one thing that I thought of. And I thought about how I'm actually quite confident, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I easily obtain and reach goals. I'm just going to put the rest of my. I kind of want to be drinking it. I kind of want to save it for dinner, or save it for with dinner. Don't want to get up again with the dog. And I guess I won't be able to donate this book now that I've got coffee spills all over it. Maybe it didn't think things that much. There was 4 people there for a moment. Now it's just 1 for a moment until they're done. So did they, Colonian friend? Nice to have you back, Oliver. So I'm hoping that this will be a very helpful one for you, me, and many of us. That's an interesting way to word it that you don't usually ask. Guess you tried something new. It depends on who you ask, I'm ready for spring. Not so much ready for that can be obvious, but spring and even more so summer, because at the moment I don't have a lot of plans for spring, unless of course that music venture gets back in, or you figure out ways to do more with that. But I'd like to say biking, and if I have a spare bike, then yeah, because I can save one for the festival, which is more the summer. But yeah, how's the weather there? I've seen you say it once or twice before. It was more the how's the life in Canada part. But it be lifing, as I think they like to sometimes people say. But anyway, so I'm just looking at this book. Yeah, I'll ask it again. Best advice that you would give your younger self, advice, most helpful advice that you've ever received, something that you still need advice on, and advice that you give the older generation. Trying to figure out your picture and what it's of, but thank you, Hobby Horse. Seems to be a lot of horse fans following lately, which is interesting because I'm kind of into horses. So, to the question that I just asked, if the 2 of you would put your answer, that would be great. I answered it in the previous video, but I stopped the video for a bit because I wanted to look a little bit closer at this, and the radio was talking loudly. It's one thing if it's background music, but yeah, that sounds pretty much like the UK weather I've heard of. I feel like you were here when I just asked it, and it's like a 4-part question. So we'll start with the first part. What is advice? And you don't have to say how old you are. Hopefully you're older than 18, but what is advice that you would give the people younger than you? Just in a general sense for that. I mean, the thing that keeps coming to mind is everybody's an individual. So some people will need advice or won't need advice, that others could maybe benefit from. And while you're working on that, I'm going to look at this. And thank you for saying I'm gorgeous, by the way. Yep, I like that one. Although I always think that that's spelt like cheese, that grateful. I always think that's not how you spell it. Just live your life and be grateful for what you have. Yep. Stay away from drugs and alcohol. Also good advice. I would say there are some that are less bad, and that moderation is important. That is one I don't know if I said in the previous one, which I would say to anybody: energy drinks. Stay away from them. Negative energy. Just be yourself and happy. That's okay. Great. Now, is there anything you would add to that? What's the best advice you've ever been given? And what's a piece of advice that you feel like you could still benefit from? And with that one, I mean more so, what is an area in which you feel like you still could use some advice? But those are good answers so far. Oh, I'm confusing the two of you. Uh, am I? What was it? Yeah, sorry. I thought that those all came from Hobby Horse, all capitalized, but came from each of you. So, yeah. But to the next part there. I'll look back at the chat in just a moment. Mine was basically get a degree, cherish loved ones, and find some sort of belief on the afterlife. Just using this as some further topic ideas. And I've not read it before, so. This is very interesting. Somebody was in university at the age of 16. No, she kind of looks like Cassandra. Probably about 15 minutes, 10 years older than me, maybe this person. So maybe that's was different then. Just been decorating today, putting. Oh yeah, right. Yeah. So tell us what your wallpaper looks like. I don't know if you can tell, but there's actually some texture to this one. I don't know if it's paper though. It was already here. Might be like painted metal pattern plates or whatever. Yeah, I'll be having spaghetti for dinner, and I'm actually kind of ready for it. But it's only 4:39, and I'm sure because it was a bit of a rush for brunch. Well, it wasn't. I was waiting 2 hours. Then he was finally down here, and so he just played a couple songs, and I was like, "Okay, it's ready." I've been ready for 2 hours, but I'm gonna try and. Um, Not quite true. Jesus loves you. I mean, thank you for your opinion, but I don't quite agree. Much of real life, the Lord will watch over your coming and going both now and forevermore. Because if that was the case, things would be different. So, I'm not trying to judge you for your opinion, but it doesn't quite gel with me. So, I don't know if Hobby Horse something may have came up in his environment or their environment, or their phone died. Whoops, I just showed something there, but just very briefly. But next part of the advice, if you don't want to tell me what your wallpaper looks like, then that's fine. Okay, no, like wood laminate on a wall though, like kind of like what this looks like or what this door looks like, but on a wall. Well, yeah, I guess that's very interesting. Speaking about or thinking about my grandparents a little bit, because they actually had that. Next time I get up, I'll show you. I showed it the other day in the stream, but I'll show it again. There's a couple pictures by the harp that we have uh, um, that I can show you that he built that, and I was really annoyed when the person who bought it. Watch Liam. He wasn't the one that bought it, but somebody named Liam was. They modernized it. They even had a Scottish theme section to their basement and a log cabin theme, and then they had like the laundry room and storage and that. And then they actually had two little storage rooms. One was very, very tiny. Wonderful Waf Waf. Yeah, when I hear that name, I do think of that. No, this one was a ballet dancer. Not to be confused with a belly dancer. There's another famous Liam too, isn't there? I think. And hello to Wonderful Waf Waf, whatever that is. So I'm just kind of, like I say, looking at some material here to help kind of you can kind of see where the conversation, a couple of the questions that were already asked. So Um, and then the next part would be, what's an area where you feel like you still need life advice on? Don't be embarrassed. We all have an area or two or three or four. And then the other part would be, what is some advice you'd give to, depending on how old you are, people older than you, including elderly. Gonna buy some pictures for the walls. Did you just move, Oliver? I don't understand those, but anyway, did you just move? Um, might be Neeson. Neeson? Yeah, I don't think it's Nelson, but that's okay. Anyway, and I'm skimming this. Like right now, she's talking about being in some sports teams. That's lovely of her to say. She'd never seen so many beautiful people in one place in her entire life. Flanked in the latest fashion? That's a weird phrase. Yeah, no kidding. At the moment, I think you're the only one here. There was a couple people, but I don't think they stuck around. And if there are comments that I'm not seeing, as long as they don't seem negative or trolly, can you please tell me? Because I'm mostly seeing you. So I did notice that Jesus loves you, and the wonderful one. And hopefully Hobby Horse gets back here. He seemed like he was happy to be here, or they seemed like it. No, but the place needs a good decoration. Okay. Well, like I say, I often think of this one as a museum. You know what? I hate to do it, but I actually, speaking of noodles and that, I am actually kind of hungry. Um, uh, I was just quickly looking at this to see if. Okay, well, this is interesting. I didn't notice that at the beginning of the previous chapter. Well, it seemed to be the title of the chapter, or in quotations. I'm going to come back to that part because I don't know if it's going to have. I kind of talk about my old school days sometimes, but I know that this is a bit of a controversial thing. I don't know much about it, but I've heard of it. And a lot of people talk about it as if it's a negative thing. The Me Too movement, do you know what that's about? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Really appreciate you being here. Yeah, because sometimes YT hides comments. Look for what you want and move towards that. When you do that, you're fixated on magnifying. Oh, okay, that's not what I thought it was going to say. So let's talk about that when I have a small amount of spaghetti before I have a bigger amount of spaghetti. Focusing on what you want. I thought it was going to say, well, magnify you getting it. But then it seemed to actually more so be saying, leaning on bread, a bread tripod. Hopefully you can still hear me all right. It seemed to be more saying, and you notice more what you don't want. And yeah, I've experienced that, and I think that's a great topic. Now this spaghetti is already ready. It's already ready, spaghetti. I'll make some meat and have it. Not meat, but that sounded like the Roadrunner. Not meat. I just hope there's going to be enough here to have some now. And have some later. We forgot to buy pasta when we were out, so I think this is going to be an errand that I do this week as something to get out and do. Yeah, I just don't really feel like. So, hopefully that'll be enough for both of us. Like I say, with garlic bread, and if I do it very, um, what's the other thing I put in there? Oh, those olives which we finished off. So that's funny. Now it's asking a Q&A sticker, carpets or hardwood. They must know what you're doing, Oliver. So, yeah, when you focus on what you want, you know, it magnifies what you don't want. How have I noticed that in my life? How have you noticed it in yours? I think for me, it's not even sometimes a want, it's sometimes a what would not make sense. As far as like, um, I'm just going to be eating a very little bit because I was hungry and couldn't wait till dinner. Um, it's pretty much like I not only don't want, but almost can't do being in super loud environments, for instance. So it's interesting, like with this music thing. Of course, it would be really sad if I hadn't. Let's just say that. I mean, sometimes I still feel that depression, but other times I'm doing all right. But it would be, but at the same time, and I mean, it is. I'm not trying to say that most people like had the jobs I had, they probably wouldn't keep them for very long, or they would feel like they were very kind of entry level, but they might be able to work on their goals outside of that. Like they might be in a class, or they might be doing something on the side. But I've worked at a call center. Whoop-de-doo. The first one was better than the second one. And I've worked at a grocery store in high school. Interesting combo. Part of me would like this to be a little bit hotter. Some of it kind of is, though. I don't feel like getting up again. But although I might, because this stupid cushion likes to slide. There we go. But yeah, so it'll be better with the more stuff in it. Although, not too sure what more we have. SAO? What do you mean by like something missing within myself? Oh, I mean, it certainly seems to fit the conversation. Yeah, this would have been better with the Jugan and the maybe garlic. More cheese. I'm almost finished. It's just going to tie me till later. But definitely, I did feel like I wasn't living my true purpose, and like, I needed more in life. Oh, the depression part. Oh yeah. Or sometimes it can be from realizing that it's so there, but you don't feel like you can manifest it. This is where live streaming can be a bit helpful, because I'm able to at least do it somewhat. But welcome to the channel, by the way, Sale. Where are you watching from? Is it your first time here? How did you come across the channel? I don't think I gave this one a very fancy title, but you can help me suggest one based on the conversation. Kind of sort of the gears are turning. Yeah, so basically, although I was thinking about the other day, like I kind of missed the grocery store, but that was because, not that it was never busy, it was a small town, so there were quiet times. And I really enjoyed chatting with the cashiers, while I waited to bag people's groceries. And I worked with some decent people. The hard thing is that not just women, but most are women, when they get older and get married and their last name changes, if you're trying to reconnect with them, it can be a bit hard. But of course, I'm from a small town, so whenever I come across somebody from there, if they don't have a lot of contacts, sometimes I'll look because I figure, oh, I'll probably know some of them. So yes, is there something you would like to ask about depression or more thoughts that you have on it, Seo? Because it's an important topic. I agree. Excuse me. But yeah, so yeah, so in this life we are to be challenged for the most part, but I think to a level, and then it's like stop challenging me and just give me what I need. You know what I mean? I believe we all have been challenged a lot. Yeah, but some less. Some seem more privileged. Some seem more um, like you sound like someone who has dealt with depression, and I'm curious what you feel is like. Like any of them, any diagnosis, it's more than a diagnosis. There's reasons behind it, right? So, what do you feel are your reasons that you've been struggling with depression? I think I've kind of been alluding to mine, and I think it's a very, very common reason, But you know, and let's not confuse depression with grief. Okay, I mean they're both a sadness, but grief is more from losing a loved one, right? They can feed into each other, though. I would say that, but but yeah. So back to also, so we can certainly still talk about that, but back to focusing on what does this say when you're moving to what you want. You're not be fixated or magnifying reinforcing what you don't want. I'm not too sure if I know exactly what to make of the statement. So maybe I'll look at the questions that it asked under that. Okay, so you're a religious person that you believe in him, or is he just the that entity what you attach the bad things to? I understand. I resonate somewhat. Um, do you feel that there are things that we can do that keep him away, other than just not focusing on those energies? So, what do you want out of life? This is essentially the summary to that question. What words? Sorry, I'm going to just ask a bunch of rapid questions. People can answer them as they wish. Yep, very normal, very understandable. Um, what words would you like others to, or have you heard others use to describe you? I feel like there's slightly different questions, and you're definitely sounding religious. It's fine, like you're not intending to, but I could just tell because based on what you're saying that it's in there to survive to make it to heaven. Well, once you die, if you're a good person, that's where you go. So I've had some NDEs, by the way, just so you know. Um, I would hope that all of us would say positive. We want people to describe us in positive ways. I mean, there unfortunately are some people out there who are like, either they don't care or they're like, I'm okay being a bitch, or pardon my French. I meant to say that just the letter, but the whole thing came out. And some people may say that, not about me, but in general. But I think that those people could work on their mindset a little bit. Truly. What experiences do you want to attract in your life? What would you like to say when you are describing your life to someone who doesn't know you? And within that, I hear largely, loud and clear, I hear So, what do you do for a living? That question, right? Um, and some people will say, "Oh, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it." That's what you said. They say it must be they're making it every day, or something like that. Peace and happiness and no worries. But I think it's going to be difficult. Well, you have to find that for yourself within yourself a bit too, right? Um, we are about 40 minutes in. It's just the two of you here. I hope you won't mind. Actually, what I should do, although I just put this on and the other stuff's out there, is I just have to put on this muscle rub. I have a bit of a hairy chest, but I have aches. Getting older, um, so Oliver, you're over 18. Hopefully the other person is. Otherwise, don't tell me. Um, I'm just going to take a pause to let you add any other thoughts while I do this, and hopefully, if I'm not talking, the dog will calm down because he's got everything he needs. I'm going to have to send him upstairs or outside, one of the two. What time of day is it? 5 o'clock on a weekday. Okay, out you go. Jump in from silly dog, I tell you, silly. I mean, he had a good walk earlier, but anyway. So this next part of this book sounds like she's talking about her father passing away. So deep stuff, yeah. But you know what? Sometimes we have to sit through the deep stuff, talk about it, heal from it, to make progress. So I'm looking at the comments on my other device just because where this is placed, it's a bit easier to see it. We're all equal. I'd like to say yes, although I do feel that some people did not. They're not doing the right things that they need to do to be seen as equal in the best ways. I think that's what I would say, and that certainly some people seem to have more or be more than others, and that is very true. I feel like, but we are all here for each other. I definitely agree, even when being on separate journeys. But we all in this life have here having to worship one. Again, back to the God thing. You're not being super strong with it, but you're obviously making it obvious that it's a part of you. And I'm fine. I'm agnostic. I'm not here to not accept. But I don't think this is the word I'm looking for, but it would be similar to the W word that you used. Let's say we should all be here to be of service of others in some way or another, whether that's just giving kindness or actually other stuff as well. I don't think I can read this part because having lost my father, it's not that I can't um, process other people's losses, but she in this book is describing it happening essentially in front of her, and her and her siblings and possibly her mother in there trying to revive him. And I don't know if I can look at that right now. God loves you, so I have love and respect for you, brother. I appreciate that. Again, I don't always feel like he does. I feel like he should, but one of my biggest beliefs is that there is a creator, there is a God. That's what I feel. But it's a humongous world, and in a lot of ways, a messed up world. So it's clear that he's not as almighty as a lot of people like to pretend that he is. And also, if you haven't liked the video yet, please do. I certainly feel like yeah, he could show me a little bit more that he wants me to succeed and be my absolute best, not just mediocre, you know, because I'm trying, you know. Um, and also, I think as far as love goes, especially, when we tie it into, someone's religion, I feel like, okay, yes, it's okay to attach it to that. And I do believe that God is love. But I also feel like, we should love for our own sake too. That we should love because it's good other good people, and even those that struggling and not being a good person are two different things, though, I would say. But yeah, just because it's the best way to be. um what would you like to learn more about, Oliver? uh it's hard, I know. That's where belief comes in. Well, we don't have quite a fenced yard, but we have an enclosed area, and uh, the deck. And but right now we have snow, so it's not garden weather. There was a yard that says pansies, and G thought it said pansies. He says there's pansies in the. Hey, drop it and dig in. Drop it and dig in. That's right. If you're doing them, you'll probably burn down. That's why there's cars there. There's not more of them. There's like two, maybe three. So I'll bet it's even. Anyway, silly dog. So yeah. Um, um, so, but we have an area, yeah, and then he gets 3 or 4 walks a day. So, but of course they trample through a garden, right? If we didn't stop them, I feel like. So yeah, and he did. He passed away. Um, there is an interesting part that's mentioned in this too. Like, I'm not sharing things word for word, but there is an interesting part in this about when a loved one passes away, having to get back on our feet. I don't necessarily entirely feel like we can or should be expected to. I think that with time things get easier. Uh, but that you know, um, it's an individual thing too, I would say. Um, oh, but she was studying abroad, so she decided to work locally. And it's interesting how we try and kind of live our lives through. What are you doing, Sonny? Lay down, please. Through sometimes those who have passed on. It's a way of keeping their memory alive, their legacy. Is this no bad? Can you show us? Well, I just sat down. I've got the pillows propped perfectly. Our area is sort of recognizable. And I would hate for locals to see it and say, "Okay, I know where you live." There's a business nearby, and let's just say we got a lot of snow. Okay, and the plows, like, there's even mountains of it still and hills of it, and yeah. Um, I can't remember if we had a late start to the winter, but we just changed the clocks a day or two ago, and if the snow doesn't go soon, it'll certainly be a late start to spring. Yeah, we don't usually have snow in April, I don't think. But anyway, um, I have a question. And I think we've only got two people watching right now. One is close to my age. I'm not too sure how the other one is, but you don't have to say. And I'd rather not know if you're under 18 because we're having a good conversation. But uh, have any? This is a unique question, and also to those that see afterwards. Has anybody ever found? I'm not even talking about letters that would be classified as SUI, starting with those letters, but like written letters of loved ones who have passed away. Like I have something that I put on the fridge. It's kind of sideways at the moment, but that I put on the fridge not that long ago. Finally got it printed a few weeks after coming up with it, which is pretty much what I want my legacy to be, what I want done when I pass away. But yeah, he is a young person mostly, even though sometimes he annoys me though too. That's because I'm around him. But you know, it's kind of like yeah. Um, just someone who so strongly believes in you and supports you and is there for you and is your confidant and your company is a lovely thing. And someone who you know is a good person to ask to carry out those wishes. But basically, this is just pretty much just saying that she found letters her dad had written where he was trying to get accepted at different colleges, possibly changing a degree or getting a degree. Okay, he was just 45. Mine was in his 40s as well, actually. Um, and it's interesting to think of, even if they didn't, do something to themselves. And I talk about that occasionally on this channel, and you know how it's important to seek support and not be shy to do so, and trying to see the joy in life as well that there is, and make it for yourself. Find it. Sometimes easier said than done, but in the ages of the internet, if you have a favorite show that you like to watch, or movie, or music, or whatever, like in music's one of those ones, so more so than the other types, I would say that when you're not doing well, and then of course faith people go to faith as well, but when you're not, you know, happy or whatever, you're listening to sad music, right? But yeah, basically, um, it'd be interesting to kind of like it's interesting to think about where somebody's life was, what somebody's life was before they passed away. And I'm going to spend a few moments looking at that. And you're welcome to also share. For my dad, he was working 3 jobs, um, average health. Um, hmm, uh, um, it's weird to say, otherwise, don't think I know. Hello, Jessica Parks. Welcome. Very interesting thinking about people from our past and wondering if certain people are alive, because I had a teacher in high school in small town Ontario whose last name was Parks. And not that long ago, and I mostly believe it and mostly feel like it was genuine, I actually feel like one of my commenters said that his dad was my grade 8 teacher and that he's lived in my hometown. So, wondering if it's possible. I don't know what her first name was, but I know she taught in Amherstburg. And she would probably be about 70 now, probably 70, somewhere in her 70s. I want to say her name was Susan, but that it could have been Deborah, could have been Barbara. I'm really not sure what it was. But yeah, do you have a relative that was a teacher in Ontario? Kind of short hair, glasses, little bit heavy set. What's fine? What's fine? Anywho, I last year I went through losing someone at the age of, not that you know of. Okay, well, welcome to the channel. First time here. How'd you come across it? Where are you watching from? If you'd like to, general say. I can't recall any of my family members being teachers. Okay. Um, I kind of don't want to know if we have anybody watching under 18 because that's slightly awkward, although there seems to be quite a few. And I feel like this is where I've kind of, meant to be a bit of a teacher and share the wisdom that I've learned, through my life. and that's not just to that age group. And again, I prefer if it was mostly prefer if it was over 18 on this channel. But yeah, and we all can do that, by the way, right? But yeah, I was thinking about that teacher not long ago, which is kind of ironic. And also found out one of my other teachers passed away, but that didn't impact me that much. I mean, it was like 20 something years later. I remember her being kind and gentle and having a warm smile. But other than that, yeah. And she had a terrible, I can't believe she ever thought to herself, I'm going to teach in a high school. I mean, these days, even in a grade school with the name she had. But anyway, Rip Lynn, let's say that. I think that was her name. Anywho, so yeah, we're talking about, advice at different life stages. So feel free to share what comes to mind for that. Uh, I actually had Rosa Parks on our channel once, and she said, "Thanks for taking the back seat or whatever," which is a Black History thing, as you may know. Anywho, yeah. So last year I had someone that was 104 passed away a few months after someone that was 32. And where was her life at? The 32-year-old, the 104. We knew it would be any time that she would pass away. The other one was a little more unexpected. She was a partner, she was a sister, she was a daughter, she was a stepmom, she was a friend, she was a niece, she was, a great singer and a beautiful soul inside and out. Who surely would have liked to have done more with her life. I'm just noticing the interesting rainbow here. Gma will come down and play piano in a moment. But so if you have any song requests, I mean, I'm musical too, but
I was going to take Sammy for
another one. He just had one.
4 hours ago.
And he's mostly being calm. And he did. Oh, yeah. So he's fine.
Hello.
But
where's my cell phone? Did I leave it upstairs? I guess
yep.
I did. Oh.
But yeah. So basically, but we have to accept that that's that person's journey, and that they can still get to do things from the other side. I feel like, and unfortunately, just not with the weapons. But anyway, so I have to go, brother. This life is only temporary. I really would rather follow it on here. No negativity. I mean, there's always lots of negativity in life, but we have to try and stay away from it as much as possible, and we'll be happier people, right? It is, but I do believe it goes on for. Oh, sorry, I'm confusing Jessica for Sayo, but well, thanks for being here, Sayo. I hope to see you again sometime. Hit the notification bell and subscribe. Same with Jessica, and Oliver already has. But hopefully, certain someones won't be too distracting in the background. Somebody's getting puppy kisses. I know how you feel, but you're staying strong, and I value that from. Oh wow, thank you. Is this the first video of ours that you've seen, Jessica?
What a nice.
Well, I'm actually NB, but anyway, we did that. But I know how you feel, but you're staying strong, and I value that from you. That's really nice. Love you, man. You, Jessica, sis. Oh, this is great that everybody's being so great to each other in the chat. Why would you spend your life doing so much something you dislike so much? Yeah, that's an interesting question. So over the years, I was going to do what I could to help people find meaning in work, to be happy at work. And I mean, yeah, if we can't find it for ourselves, but we know it's important, I mean, it makes sense to provide, like, to be doing a bit more career coaching, but also just general life coaching, and to be able to be about making a living, not a dying. It's an interesting phrase. Does not have to work, I thought, does not have to be a 4-letter word. Not too sure I understand that, but even though it is a 4-letter word. So yeah, Jessica, if you answered the question about the advice during different life stages, or is there something else weighing on your heart you'd like to talk about? And so just get slightly talking to the dog in the background and it's mildly distracting. But anyway, yeah, do you mind? I'm trying to lose it. That's distracting. I'd rather be playing guitar. I mean, guitar, piano.
I think you would be able to hear me.
Each chapter kind of starts with a little tip, I guess I would say. Turning adversity into fuel for positivity. Uh, when you're challenged by something, think about what you'd like to create to leave a positive impact on the world. Accept the current reality. Choose the vision of what you want to create and take an action to move towards it. I accept. Okay, we'll look at that later if we want to talk more about it, maybe on a different, maybe tomorrow. And then, okay, so she graduated university in 1984, so that would mean that she, I believe. Yeah, oh, definitely it would. I wasn't even born yet. Sorry. It's interesting how they call the schools collegiates when they aren't colleges, but it's the French, I believe. And she said she felt the same when she started college as she did when she started high school. Typewriter. Oh, she's old. No, just kidding. But from a statistic class, didn't have a social life. Although Karen and I ran out pub, generally left alone, and ended up at a late night eatery, pizza. I'm grateful. Oh, you're still here for this moment, man. Truthfully, you're amazing. Thank you. You are too. Extremely unique. How so? Same goes for Jessica, myself, and all the others in the. Okay, so it's not just a personal thing you're saying then. But yeah, pretty much. I agree. And appreciate your positivity here.
Oh, that's sort of unique.
Sorry?
Oh, comma, that's sort of unique.
Unique is in. What sort of unique? Sorry.
Oh, well, no.
I'm going to want to full on spaghetti in a moment, so get playing. I'm hungry and I only had a little bit and it wasn't very. Unique is in not unique. Yeah. Okay, we've got to. Okay, yeah. If you could, because I'd like to get to starving. And it also probably, unfortunately, it's only about 30, but personally, I believe nothing is perfect. I mostly do as well. That's what everyone is made to be themselves. As a life wouldn't be life without it. You're both amazing, and you should know that. Okay, well, thank you. If you stay a few minutes more, you'll hear a bit of classical piano. I am getting about 18.5 from you, but yeah. And oh, sorry, that was from Jessica. I'm confusing people again. Doesn't happen often, but but yes, I agree. And even if you have a faith, that should be how you look at it. Okay, I play some tune. Oh, do you? What do you like to play? How long have you been playing? So I'm looking at two different screens. And do you play other instruments as well? That's cool. He largely plays classical, but not only. Or are you saying, okay, play some tunes on piano? Or are you saying that you do play piano? Either way, let's hear some piano. Just kidding. Okay, I play some, okay, my least favorite. And some theme songs of old shows. Well, that's kind of cool. I don't know if you really know what books might have. Try not to do that in the background. Please go in the foyer. If you have any books, there's one or two of the smaller ones that I feel are. Sorry, he's a little bit under the weather, so he's just blowing his nose. But yeah, theme songs. That's interesting because I've had videos in the past. Hasn't really went it hasn't really stuck on that topic. We've kind of just chatted about other things, but I've had videos before where I've said, "What's your favorite TV theme song?" or whatever. So old shows, that makes me think that you're probably old, or at least an old soul. Maybe tomorrow I wanna settle down. Maybe tomorrow. Da, 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 da. And thank you for being a friend. Traveled up the road and back again. You're always true, a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, it would be the greatest gift it'd be from me. And a heart attached would say, "Thank you for being a friend." I channel the afterlife. Do you believe in the afterlife? Do you believe people can channel angels? Because I know that I think all of them now probably have passed away. Each and every one of them. Yeah, so out of those two, I think that you would more likely know some. We also have like a Broadway book, and then lots of classical, and a dog that likes to sing sometimes.
Well,
I can't believe on that show the other. She's like, "Oh yeah, my dog sings all the time," and then, but then again, it could just been the atmosphere. Sorry.
I'll take you for a walk later, son.
So I'll introduce you to G, so I can focus more on what I'm doing for a few minutes, but I'll follow the chat. How's that sound? I kind of feel like I have to have it on that one in case Potato comes in or any others that don't show. But I also, yeah, well, yeah, well, yeah, he can any comments.
Hello. Blues music and some theme songs of old shows. Well,
We know the one. I think we prefer the second category there.
okay, can I?
We always complain about you don't like blues either.
What's that? Anyway, I was in the mood to play some foxtrots and waltzes from the 20s and 30s. It's kind of dance music. It kind of like it's also old. Well, yeah, no, I actually play lots and lots of old music. Oh, here's a lovely piece of music. It's kind of sad now. Would you rather? Okay, there's three people now. This is a lovely piece of music that you might have actually heard. I think it's a lovely melody. Thank you. Thank you. That was
blonde hair, not great.
it is blonde hair, but well, I could easily be a grandpa. I'm 60 years old. If you knew me, if you met me in person, you'd think I was younger.
Yeah, for sure.
It's okay. I've been called grandpa before.
They may be showing their age a little bit.
That was, of course, Harbor Lights, which I think has a lovely melody, even though its lyrics are kind of sad and to a certain extent antiquated. I don't know. Anyway, here's something more cheerful. That was It's the Talk of the Town. I've never heard of it. It was sometime probably. That's right. No One to Talk. From Santley's, that's backwards. So Santley's Dance Folio of your favorite foxtrots and waltzes. In any case, he promised some classical. Impressive classical or soothing classical? Well, you've had plenty of soothing. Here's something impressive. How's that? I hope you enjoy New Zealand. Sorry. That would be for release in another lifetime. Uh, yes, somebody, a very good friend of mine. Actually, a few people I've known have worked as chef.
Yeah.
One of my coworkers at my present place of employment is a former chef. Now it says there's 0 people watching. Well, that's too bad. And still only 4 likes. There says there's no people watching and there's... Huh?
He had to head out.
Oh, okay. Yes, I want to. Oops. Give my puppy dog a walk.
So hopefully,
Huh? Anyway. À la prochaine.